Okay, we're good.
Hey, how y'all doing? If you can hear me, press one. If you can hear me, press one. All right. And so I think we got YouTube, we got Facebook. Everybody there, we live. All right. So what I want to go over today, we're in our Lunch and Learn series on housing programs, grants for housing programs. Something amazing has happened. I'll be talking about it a lot a little later on today. Um, a huge grant opportunity came up, and it is for housing programs, a specific type of housing program. The floor or the lowest award is 15 million. The highest award is 500 million. And if you're interested in learning more about that, DM me, and we'll we'll put something together. Um, but what I wanted to do was to take today and talk about funding for your housing programs. We've already talked about different aspects of your housing program, how to put it together, what to look out for, how to accelerate your funding for it. But today I want to identify some specific, give me some specific I, specific funding sources and some um, some specific funding sources for your allowable costs. Whenever you're doing a program, there are allowable costs and unallowable costs. I'm going to use this particular grant as an example. Let me see. Yeah, I put together a um, a handout for this specific thing, just to go over the allowable and unallowable costs. If anybody has any specific questions from this week, um, if you can put it in the chat or you can come into the Zoom room, um, I can answer your questions. All right. But what I'm going to do right now is go over allowable and unallowable costs. All right. So, allowable costs are the costs that are allowed, and the unallowable costs are costs that are not allowed. Whenever you're looking at a grant, you want to make sure that you go over the allowable and the unallowable costs because if you need money for a specific thing and that thing is not allowable, then you've just wasted your time with that grant. All right. You've just wasted your time because the things you need cannot be covered with that. This is also why you need to have multiple grants at the same time because some grants allow one thing, some grants do not. So for this particular grant, construction is not allowed. You cannot construct a new building with this grant. You cannot purchase real property, can't purchase land, can't purchase a building with this grant. You cannot do major renovations with this grant. You cannot do structural changes. You cannot do expansions with this grant. Vehicles, um, you cannot purchase vehicles with this grant unless exceptionally justified. So this grant cannot purchase property, cannot renovate property, cannot buy vehicles, and it cannot purchase any luxury or non-program expenses. Anything that's not tied to child care or not tied to program delivery for this particular grant, you cannot do. All right. But for this grant, allowable costs are you can rent or lease a building. All right. Instead of buying a building, you can rent or lease a building that already exists. You can do basic repairs and maintenance. That includes minor upkeep. You can budget for maintenance over time. You can budget for the repairs over time, like put money aside for repairs each month, each quarter, each year. Um, this grant also will cover the utilities and all the operating costs. That includes electricity, it includes water, it includes internet, it includes cleaning. This grant will also pay for all of the furnishings and the equipment, all the beds, the desks, the cribs, the appliances, everything. It will also pay for any safety modifications to meet licensing. That include fire extinguishers, signage, childproof, and sprinkler systems, etc. The allowable costs also include program services. It can pay for direct care salaries, staff salaries, the child care workers, the case managers, the therapists, the teachers. It can pay for food. It can pay for clothing for the children. It can pay for medical and mental health services, on site or contracted. It can pay for transportation costs. That is, transportation to school and medical and legal appointments. So if you see it cannot pay for vehicles, but it can pay for transportation, that means it cannot buy the vehicle, but it can rent vehicles. It can under transportation. All right. It can rent them. It can contract out with non-emergency transportation companies, etc. It can also pay for educational and recreational activities that include supplies, field trips, curriculum. All right. This grant also allows you to pay for administration. Administrative is normally about 20% of a grant, but it can pay up program management and oversight. That includes staff that are in the office. It can pay for supervisors. It can pay for staff training, trauma-informed care, licensing, compliance. It can pay for insurance, your liability, your property insurance, your professional insurance. It can pay for monitoring and reporting systems. That includes case management software, technology. It can also pay for the the contractors that are going to operate the technology. If you need to outsource something, it'll pay for that. All right. So what we do when we look at grants, we try to think strategically about the allowable costs and what we can do and what we can't do, and come up with a plan on how to cover things for any particular agency that's doing it. Um, so if we planned to open a new facility, instead of opening a brand new facility, we'll lease instead of build. All right. Lease something that exists instead of building something brand new. And then you want to budget for minor modifications to meet licensure. Whatever modifications are needed, put that in the repair budget and put it under minor modifications. All right. And then you want to use your other funding sources for major construction or acquisition. So if you have another funding source that's willing to buy a building, pay for it, et cetera, you can do that. But this money is there to rent the building. All right. So if you know that there's a building in your area and that building looks like it could work, then you can put the lease of that building, the whole cost, however many years you want to lease it, put that in this budget, and then um, you'll be able to cover all of that cost. The grant covers all of it. This grant also has 0% match. So there are some grants that have match requirement. If you're looking at grants.gov, you'll see match and it'll tell you a percentage. Sometimes it'll say yes, sometimes it'll say no, sometimes it'll say 50%, sometimes it'll say 10% or 25%. What match means is if we give you $100, you need to come up with 25. That's 25% match. If we give you $100 and the match is 50, then you need to come up with $50. And in that regard, your budget is $150. So the match has to add up to the full budget. I did a grant that was 1.3 million. The match was 250,000. So the grant agency gave us like right at a million, and we had to come up with the other 250,000. And we have strategies on how to come up with that money without having to come up with cash. There are legal and very appropriate ways to come up with match without actually using dollars. All right. So when you think about match, you're thinking about what amount do I have to come up with in order to match this? Well, this grant in particular does not have a match requirement, and that's why I'm so excited about it. I'm going to be sharing this particular grant with anybody that really wants to do a housing program, is interested in actually taking action on a housing program. It's really big. It's 15 million at the bottom, at least 15 million at max. It's 500 million. And so you have to think that you're solving a big, you have to think about it. If you're solving a big problem, you need big dollars, and you need a lot of help to do it. And so, we're preparing if anybody were interested. Um, I've already been putting together just how we're going to train on it, and we actually I've been testing out the writers on federal grants. So this could actually be written in instead of charging 15,000 or 50,000, up to 50,000 for a grant like this. We're able to do it for pennies on the dollar. Um, so when you think about, all right, so that's match. The other thing that you want to do is whenever you're doing a grant, whether it's housing grant or any type of program, start with the budget first. So you go here to the allowable costs and you go down and you see what is allowable and you make that a line item. Rent or lease, that's a line item. Basic repairs, a line item. Utilities and operating expenses, a line item. Furnishings, a line item. Do y'all see what I'm saying? Do y'all get it? Everything that's allowable, if you need that, you make that a line item. If you don't need it, then, skip over it. If you need it, it's a line item. And then after you have all of your line items, then you want to check to make sure that you're not going over any percentages. For example, some will cap the salaries at 50%. Some will cap the administrative at 20%. And there's a way you can put that in Excel to make sure you don't go over, and the computer can balance everything out for you. I don't. We haven't tested out yet. I'll probably have to test out our agents creating the budgets in Excel. I don't know, but anyway, my goal is to make this as simple and easy and accessible to all of you. So when you look at housing programs or any program, start with the budget. Now, for smaller grants, five or $10,000, they don't really press you about the budget. But for larger grants, the budget actually becomes an attachment and it gets attached to your contract. And they really expect you to stay inside those budget items, those line items. If you ever see yourself about to go over in one budget category, you have to send them an email and tell them, we did the budget this way. We actually are approaching our limit and we wanted to reallocate our budget. Take something from this line and put it in that line. You send that in an email, they'll respond letting you know whether it's allowed or not. I've never had them say no. And they work it out and you send them your new budget and it becomes part of your file. All right. Your goal, though, is to use all of the money in the time period that they tell you, that they give you for your program. So if your program is a 1 year program, you need to demonstrate that you can spend down the money in 1 year. And I know this sounds really weird because typically people celebrate you for saving money. But in the grant world, you get celebrated if you are able to spend down, able to spend down. And so with this grant being at least 15 million, you actually have to demonstrate how you will spend down $15 million. Now, for some people, they intend to start at the bottom. They intend to start small, and that's fine. But there are some people that do have in their mind a $15 million project, a $20 million project, a $30 million project, and you already have in your mind how the money could be spent. You know that there's a factory that costs, $1 million to rent for a year. You know that you're going to need 20 staff people, and you know that your salaries are going to be like 1.5 million for the whole thing. And you know that, you're going to have to buy furniture and beds and appliances and furnish the kitchen, et cetera, et cetera. And so that $1 million mark becomes a very attainable price tag, and then the 15 million just disappears because you've spent down and you're ready for it. For some people, this is not a realistic thing for them. All right. And you just have to be honest about where you are. But if you're interested in doing a housing program, and you want help with this particular thing, you can DM me and we'll talk about it. But for everybody else, no matter whether the grant is small or large, if it is a program grant, now, if it is a general operating grant, they won't have allowable and unallowable because general operating means that you can spend it on anything for the organization. But if it is a program grant specific to a program, You're going to have to submit a budget, and they're going to evaluate you on allowable versus unallowable costs. And when you're writing a grant, um, that's large, a program grant, you want to go to the allowable costs section, take those titles, those categories, and make those your line items. This is for a number of reasons. Number one, it's going to keep you on track with what they allow and don't allow. For the other thing that it's going to do, number two, is going to show them that you are in line with what they have said. You want to use their words in your proposal. Use their words. All right. Say their words back to them. That helps you, stay congruent. The last thing that it does, it really helps you when it comes to the budget narrative, because the budget narrative is where you explain in a short phrase, like less than a sentence, you explain why you need this for this program, right? And so it helps you with the budget narrative because you're able to say these are the allowable costs, and this is why I need this. The last thing that I want to share with you about allowable and unallowable costs, just because things are allowable doesn't mean that's the only thing that's in the budget. All right. Your budget might be, let's say your budget is 17 million, because you want to build a building and maybe you can buy a building for $2 million. But this grant cannot be used to pay for that building. That means that your budget will show these are the things we need. This thing is not allowable by this grant, but it's being covered by another funding source. They love that because that shows respect for what is allowable and not allowable. It also shows strength and sustainability that there are other players that are participating. Now I have lots and lots of tips on how you can be successful with this grant. My agents are on it. So we are trying to eliminate any space for human error. All the I's are dotted, all the T's are crossed. Um, and if you wanted specifically more information about this grant, you can ask me now, but DM me if you or anybody you know is interested in this grant. We're going to take about 10 people, and we're gonna write it for them. So yeah, it's amazing. We can do stuff like that now because we've been training our writers and our agents. All right. So we have time for maybe two or three questions. Um, Anybody have any questions about your idea, your project, your plan, anything that I've said today or this week? I'm going to try to pull up Facebook to see if any questions there. All right. Y'all have any questions? Hey, Jessica, how you doing? Hey, Eartha, what's going on? Marcus, hey, how you doing? Carlos, okay, Carlos, we should definitely talk, because if the city has land to give you, then there are things that you can do with this grant on that land. All right, DM me if you want to talk about it. All right. Any other questions? The maximum to apply for is 500 million. The lowest you can apply for is 15 million. That's much more than what you'll need for a home. All right. Any other questions? Now, if you don't need this much, but you need just grants for real estate, Mark, go ahead and put the link up for me. If you want grants for real estate, I taught a class on it, um, and I outlined the different grants for the different types of real estate, and so you can pick up that. And if you get it today, let me know, and we can do a one-on-one, and I can go over your strategy for what you need for grants for real estate. All right. That's just for today. All right. Any other questions? Can I use this to pay on a house you already own? This grant, remember y'all, this grant is $15 million. 15 million. You don't need that for a house. You need that for a facility. All right. So this is not a grant that you would use on a house that you already own. That does not qualify for this. If you need help on a house that you already own, then you want to go to findhelp.org. This grant is a housing facility for other people. Okay. All right. Last question. All right. Well, thank y'all. Oh, let me check uh, YouTube first. Okay. I'm learning how to go across all these platforms. I'm on Zoom, on YouTube, and Facebook at the same time. So I just wanted to make sure. All right. Well, that's our time for Lunch and Learn today. Again, I'm Jay Hackett. I'm your grant expert, your grant coach. So far, I've raised $107 million. My goal is to get another 100 million this year. And that's into the programs and organizations. And I want that to include your organization. So if you need help with grants, you need help, whether writing, finding, searching, etc., we can definitely help you and we want to. And if you want information, if you want to collaborate on this particular grant, you can DM me. Again, the floor is 15 million. The max is 500 million. And we want more of us to get that than ever before in history. All right. Well, y'all take care. Oh, and if you need grants for real estate, that's any real estate, to buy a house, build a house, rental assistance, down payment assistance, any grants for any type of real estate, the package is there. And if you get that today, you also get the one-on-one with me where I'll go over a plan for you on how to apply it. You won't just get the information. I'll meet with you one-on-one, talk about how to apply it and get what you need. All right. All right. Well, y'all take care. I'll see y'all later. Hey, Apostle. God bless you.
Hey, Coach, how you doing?
I'm good. I'm good.
It's
I
been a long time, so
know.
I
I
said
know
I'll
you're
pop
doing
in
good.
here today.
Uh-huh. All right now. You take